Finally something worth talking about in the reMarkable ecosystem. There is a new update, beta update 3.22. It brings probably the most requested feature of all time. Along with that, 3 smaller updates, and then one thing that they're not talking about that I think perhaps we should talk about. But before we get into that, we need to pay the bills. Some of you who are very eagle-eyed may have noticed that I haven't been posting as much. There's a good reason for that. I've been creating my new app called Playlist. Playlist acknowledges that real progress comes one task at a time. So instead of inundating you with everything on your calendar or everything you want to do this week, it shows you the one thing you should be working on right now so that you can focus on it and make meaningful progress. In my case, I need to go ahead and make a video on this new reMarkable update. So I'm going to press play on that. When I'm done with it, it'll show me the next thing on my list so that I can continue making progress throughout the day. If you're interested in checking out Playlist, you can join the waitlist at playlist.day. All right, on to the real video. reMarkable version 3.22, where the big headline feature is handwriting search. Let's see how reMarkable talks about this feature. So handwriting search searches the contents of both your handwritten and typed notes, making it easier than ever to find exactly what you're looking for. This is exclusive to Connect subscribers, and it'll be rolled out over the coming weeks. So this is the first meaningful Connect feature we've seen in quite some time. I mean, I guess there was the templated thing, but aside from backups, I think this is the first value generating feature, in my opinion, for Connect in a while. And my initial hunch is this seems like a good one. This seems worth it. I personally like Connect just so that I know that I have a backup of everything on my device. But this is another feature that I think might bring some people who are on the fence over into Connect. So kudos to reMarkable for that. The other thing here is the movable toolbar, which we'll show in a second. Super excited about this. And new icons throughout the app. Let's jump into it. So the first thing you'll notice is all of these icons are different. So there's a new hand-drawn style to majority of the icons. Let's go into this notebook. And so here, I'll slide this over so you can see a little better. Each one of these icons has this new hand-drawn style to it, which I think is a nice touch. My initial hunch is this gives the reMarkable a unique feeling. It really ties into the fact that everything here is hand-drawn. I love the design direction here. The usability side of me questions whether this is a good change, because now all the tooling looks identical or similar to the text that I have here, but time will tell. But I think it's cute, and I think it's really well executed. So early signs are, yeah, this looks great. Every single one of these tools has a new icon, which I think is really, really nice. So those are the new icons. They're throughout the app in just about every place. I'm pretty sure almost everything has a new icon, and it looks great. Although interestingly, this circle doesn't really look any different. Maybe that'll get an update soon. The other little feature that they talk about, but they're not really playing up, is this new movable toolbar. It's a little unintuitive how you get to it. You grab the little circle and you move it around. So you can move the toolbar to the top. You can move it to the left, which you always could do. But I think the one that I'm most excited about is being able to move it to the bottom. And the reason why I want to be able to move it to the bottom is, as a lefty, my hand hovers here, and historically the close button would be here on the left because the toolbar was here on the right. When you move your tools to the bottom, the close button can go to my non-dominant hand, which means I'm never going to close this document accidentally, which is amazing. Again, not the highlight feature that anyone's going to talk about, but a feature that you will either feel or not feel, in this case a good thing, over time. So this is amazing. A little thing that no one's going to talk about that actually makes a big difference. Let's get into the real highlight feature, the thing that everyone came for. So if we go to this ... menu, there's a search. You can search across your entire reMarkable. In my case, I'm going to search within this document. And early signs are it's actually pretty good. So let's search for morning. I see a couple instances of morning on this page. There's 2 on this page. It'll highlight the word. And what I find really compelling about this feature is it picks up on words that I didn't write particularly well. Like, as a human, I can see this and know that it's morning, but I'm curious how they're doing it with image detection. So those are both morning. This is going back a number of pages. Yes, I mentioned morning. Stand up there. Morning is here, 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 here. All looks great. And like, it's not the snappiest thing in the world, but that has more to do with the reMarkable's screen refresh than the search. The search seems pretty strong. So that's excellent. Let's try some words that aren't written particularly well. So I'm curious about these two plays over here on the right. I don't always write these things particularly precisely, and yeah, it picked up on both of those. Great. Let's try some other ones. Will it pick up on method? Method is not particularly well written here. I do have to spell it correctly. Yeah, all right, that's awesome. All right, let's stress test this a little bit further. Selected is fairly poorly written. Yeah, it's great. There were some earlier where I actually kind of misspelled them. Let's try accomplishments. This is not great. Yeah, I think that is fantastic. This is not particularly great, and yet it still finds it. Let's find some words on a different page. Are there any obscure words that maybe it wouldn't pick up on? Can it do a phrase? So like this decide what? Let's go to a different page and search for two words together and see if it can do that. Yeah, it picks up on it. I think it works more or less exactly like you would expect it. Honestly, it works for me in some places that I probably wouldn't expect it. So like, what about subscriptions? Like, I didn't spell that well. Okay, it didn't pick up on that one, but again, I spelled it so poorly. Yeah, if I drop the S, it'll get there. I don't know what else you would expect from this feature. I think they did a fantastic job. So kudos, reMarkable on that one. Before we jump out of there, I want to talk about one last feature, which is rotation lock. The reMarkable Paper Pro has an accelerometer and you can turn it into different orientations. So I personally use my reMarkable in landscape mode almost exclusively. And all I have to do is turn it sideways and it'll do that. Sometimes it'll flip it upside down. So I'll set this on my desk and the text will be oriented the other way. I orient this on my desk the same way every day. And so a new addition is this rotation lock that you can get to by just swiping down from the top right. And you can now lock the reMarkable in its current orientation and it won't change unless you unlock it and change it, which is a small thing, but I think is pretty nice. The other thing, which maybe has been here, but I hadn't noticed, is you can now screen share from this same menu. So instead of having to go into another menu and turn that on, you can now do it directly from here. So those are the updates in 3.22, but there's one other sort of unspoken update that, again, I don't have any confirmation on this. I don't know if this is 100% true, but this is something that I observed while using this. So let's go to the release notes, settings, software, specifically version 3.22.0.50. But I've got a reMarkable 2, which I own both, and they're both connected to the same account. And it's running 3.20.0.92. I can go over here, check for updates, no updates. So the question I have is this the first major update that we're going to see that only comes to the reMarkable Paper Pro and not to the reMarkable 2? It's possible that the reMarkable 2 will get this update. Maybe just the iconography bits, maybe a little bit later. But I do think at some point we're going to see the two devices diverge just due to the reMarkable Paper Pro having more power and more capability than the reMarkable 2 can muster. Even if they're doing most of the processing off of the device, it's still asking a lot of the device to be able to consume all of this. Only time will tell, but that's one of my curiosities with this, is at what point do we start to have features that are reMarkable Paper Pro or reMarkable 3, whenever that comes, exclusive. So I'm curious your thoughts, what questions you might have. And it's been fun just to get back on here and start to do videos again. So thanks for hanging out. And until next time, cheers.